Okay, I'm just here at Indian Motorcycle in Ballarat, and I've got another impromptu test ride. And today I'm test riding the Indian Challenger Dark Horse. This bike right here. Very much looking forward to riding this because it's a beauty. It's got a few extras on it, but let's get riding and then I'll pull over and go over what I think about the bike and what it's like to ride. I was going to use this recorder in the back of my jacket as I normally do, but I can't in this seat because it's got the backrest and it's pressing against the recorder, so I'll try and put it I might stick it in my pocket and see if that works. Just sitting on the bike, this one with the backrest is very comfortable, a lot different to my Chief over there. Let's get it fired up and go for a spin. Now, I haven't ridden a bike of this weight for a while. My Vaquero was 400 kilos. This is 380 odd kilos. We're in the ballpark. Gonna have to put my earplugs in. This thing is super loud. I thought the pipes wouldn't be too bad, but they're really loud. Just trying to get used to everything. Gear lever, brake pedals, everything's in the different spot, wrong spot but different spot. Feels heavier to pick up off the stand than my bike for sure. Okay, just got off the freeway on the Indian Challenger Dark Horse, and yeah, I must say it's a fair bit different to my Indian Chief. It certainly feels a lot bigger and heavier, and nowhere near as agile as a Chief, which was interesting. For this type of bike, it's certainly not. It's not cumbersome or anything like that, but just compared to the Chief, it really highlights how well designed the Chief is for its nimbleness and agility, I should say. Because the Chief's 304 kilograms and this is about 380 kilograms, so it's not a lot heavier. We're talking about 76 kilograms heavier. I suppose that's a fair bit of weight. This is not a criticism of this bike, it's just this is what these sort of bikes weigh, and it's just something you have to get used to. As a comparison, my Vulcan Vaquero weighed about 400 kilos, so it's a little bit heavier than this. And yeah, it did take a little bit of time to get used to, but after a few weeks, I could punt that thing around like nothing. So it's not something that would put me off buying this bike, but it is interesting to compare it to what I'm already riding. Now, this particular Challenger comes with aftermarket exhausts, Tab Performance exhausts. They're slip-ons. This crash bar's not standard. That's an aftermarket item. The pillion pegs have been removed, but they do come standard on this model. And this bike has also been fitted with these little toe rests that you can just put your foot up on the footboards and then just pop your toes up when you're on the freeway. And I have to say that was pretty comfortable. I didn't mind that at all. One frustrating thing about this bike, and you would have seen me in the video trying to get this screen up. I don't know if it's broken or what's happening, but I can't get this electric screen to come up, and the buffeting on the freeway with the screen in its lowest position was very noticeable and a little bit annoying actually. So I was desperately trying to get that screen up, but just wouldn't come up no matter what I did, up, down, press it in, click it, double, whatever. This bike's done 2,800 kilometres, so it's a fairly recent model, and I think it's not sure if it's traded in or what the story is behind it, but it's available for sale right now at Indian Motorcycle in Ballarat. Just on that, I just want to say a big thank you to Indian Motorcycle in Ballarat for letting me test ride their bikes. Yeah, if it wasn't for those guys, I wouldn't be test riding any bike, so thank you very much. Now, typically these are selling for around 42,500, I think. Off the top of my head, I'll put the actual price up here on screen. But this particular one's priced at 38,995 with all the extras it's got fitted. The brakes on the Challenger are very nice. You got twin disc front end with Brembo brakes on alloy wheels. The fairing protection's very good. That did a real nice job on the freeway. I just wished I could have got that screen up to really test that out. Now, the Challenger comes standard with the ride command, so you get your power modes. And just on power, actually, this engine's about 1700 cc, so it's about 200 cc smaller than my 116 and my Indian Chief. But being water-cooled, it actually produces more power and, surprisingly, more torque. This produces 178 newton meters at 3,500 RPM. My Chief produces 162 newton meters at 2,950 RPM. Now, that really surprised me because I was expecting this to be more of a horsepower-y engine, and I was surprised to see that this engine had more torque than my Chief, even though my Chief has the edge in capacity at 200 cc's larger, roughly. And I was surprised at how early the torque came on at 3,500 RPM peak torque, and you can feel that it does pull really well. Oh, the other thing that this has got that the standard Challenger doesn't have is this backrest, which I found to be really comfortable on the freeway. The seat I found to be plush, comfortable, soft, but it wasn't wide enough for me. I could feel my hip bones sort of getting close to the edge of the seat, and I think even though it was comfortable for the sort of riding I just did then, if it was my bike for longer term, I'd want the seat to be wider, so I could probably see myself putting an aftermarket seat on this bike. Now, for handling, the Challenger handles really nicely, had no problems there. The handlebars are the tiller style bars, which I had in my Vulcan Vaquero, which means that the forks are here, and typically handlebars come up off the forks and rise up from there, but these handlebars bend back and toward you, so you have like a tiller style of steering. It's a little bit odd when you first pull out and get going, but you get used to it very, very quickly, and it doesn't become an issue at all. The riding position, I found myself sitting higher on this bike than my Chief, and higher and more onto the bar, so just sort of It's got a little bit of weight on my hands on the bars, which I didn't mind at all. I found that riding position to be very comfortable. Would I want these bars to be a little bit higher? Maybe, yeah, maybe. And I wonder if you can actually loosen off the triple clamp and just sort of rotate them up a bit. The other thing I was finding on these controls too is that they're rotated down a little bit low for me. I would rotate them back up towards me. This particular Challenger has got a power outlet right here on the dash, so that'll be where you would put your trickle charger. In the Challenger range you can get electronic suspension and things like that, but this has just got the standard suspension. And I don't think it's got the remote locking bags on this one either. I don't think. Oh no, it has. It has, yeah. So you can lock the bags, probably be with the actual key fob. Yeah, just heard it. So you can unlock, when you lock the bike, it locks these bags as well, which is great. Stopping power was, had plenty of stopping power on those front brakes, they were really good. Plenty of power overall, heaps of torque. If you lived in countries where you could do, say, 160 kilometres an hour on the highway, or 100 miles an hour, this bike feels like it would have no trouble cruising at those speeds, and you've got plenty of power there on tap at those speeds as well. Now, just on the engine characteristics, it's a very different engine to the 116 air-cooled engine in my Chief, in that I noticed that when I backed off the throttle, it would sort of hang on to its revs and spin down a lot slower than my Chief. When I back off the throttle on my Chief, the revs drop pretty much straight away. On this thing, it sort of hangs onto its revs and just slowly spins down. So it was interesting getting my changes nice and smooth with that characteristic. But there again, something you get used to. Every bike has its own peculiarities, and you just get used to them. And in a few weeks, you don't even notice it at all. But I did find that interesting. So I wonder if it's got a heavier crank than the Chief engine. I'm not sure why it would sort of hang on to its revs and be slower to spin down. Now in the US, the little decoration on the front guard here, I don't know what it's actually called, the valance, the Chief headdress, whatever it is, it has provision for an LED light in it, but in Australia we can't, well, they don't come lit on any of these models, but you can get an aftermarket kit from Indian to put lighting into that. So that's something that I probably would do if I owned this bike. I think it'd be pretty cool. But Jeremy did say it's not cheap, it's expensive. The other thing this bike has is a leather piece here, and I'm not sure if that's standard or if it's been put on as it's an Indian product, but whether it's an aftermarket accessory. So overall, yeah, I've been quite excited to ride this bike and looking forward to trying a Challenger. Overall, I found the bike very pleasing to ride, very comfortable. The suspension performed very well. It's definitely a bike you could put a lot of kilometres on and just tour around on. It's definitely a touring bike, for sure. It lacks the agility of something like the Chief or the Scout, around town. But you've got to expect that. It's not that sort of bike. It's a big bagger. It's designed to take you in comfort, perform, and it's just a very nice bike to ride. Again, I just wish that screen was working so I could test it out. So in summing up, if you're looking for a bagger, looking for a bike in this size and this category, I highly recommend you check out the Indian Challenger, especially if you're looking at like a Road Glide or something like that, because this fairing is frame mounted, so it doesn't turn with the handlebars. And the fairing does offer very good protection, and you do get nice airflow through the fairing as well. There's cutouts either side of the headlight that allows air to pass through. You get your ride command, you get your power modes, you get your GPS built in, you've got your radio, you've got your USB communication to your helmet. It's definitely, if you're looking for a tourer, it's definitely something that I would consider, especially if you're considering a Harley. Alright, I think that'll do it for this video. If you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching. As always, thank you for your continued support. And until next time, bye for now.